The art of midwifery is making a comeback here. So much so that there is a school or a program that's affiliated with Texas Tech University and the Health Sciences Center. Okay,
it's called?
Well, it's the midwifery program.
Oh, it's just called the mid. Okay.
Now, the reason why I'm giving you all this information is because we're about to interview Elizabeth Toombs, and Elizabeth is a midwife, and she is the operator of the Midwife Cottage, which is delivered so far. They just opened. They don't have the flagstone laid on their patio yet, but they've delivered 3 kids.
Okay. Wow, you are new.
Now here's the thing about this. She is the second graduate of the midwifery program at Texas Tech University, right?
I'm in the second cohort.
Or second cohort, yeah. Okay.
Yes, that's right.
Whatever. Anyway, it's just semantics. Anyway, so she's a midwife. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having us.
Okay, now, first of all, Laura, since you're a woman, I'm just going to tell you, I went on a tour of this place yesterday. It was so amazing, I was contemplating, pontificating, getting pregnant myself.
Really? Well, there you go.
One more time.
Good luck with that.
Anyway, this is amazing. Tell us or explain to people what you do.
Right.
And then we're going to be talking to another lady that you brought with you, Sarah Brinker. She is connected to midwifery in a different way. Number one, because her husband is a doctor and is one of the administrators in a program. Number two, she's also had a conventional birth and a birthing center birth. So we're going to juxtapose that. So tell us what it's all about.
So a birth center is much like delivering at a home birth environment without being home birth. So it shouldn't feel clinicky. It shouldn't look clinicky. We allow for natural physiologic birth, and that's what we do best. Midwives are best with natural physiologic birth. So being pregnant doesn't make you ill. You never were sick. You were just pregnant. And this is something our bodies do. So we support natural physiologic birth. And so what that means, women can do this best in their own environment, in where they control their environment. The environment isn't controlled for them. So a birth center should feel like a home. And we encourage moms to eat and drink in labor. They can get up and walk and about in labor. They rarely give birth on their back. They find their most comfortable position. They can labor in water. And so they're in control of their environment. That being said, they have a midwife with all the necessary equipment should we need it. But oftentimes we don't need anything except for a nice Doppler and a pen and paper to write things down.
That's why it's so neat, because the home birth thing, okay, that's great, I get it. People say, yeah, I want to have a home birth, and they can do that. But a midwife can't drag all of the necessary stuff to make sure that they're monitoring everything that they need to be monitoring as it happens, and that's why the birthing center. And it's really kind of a neat deal. I want you to go over there and look at it.
And this would be for people who are not like a high risk pregnancy.
You're correct. And home birth, when it is a home birth attended midwife, they do bring in their own equipment, and they do have rather nice outcomes. But the professional organizations on medicine don't support home birth. Well, ACNM, which is the American College of Nurse Midwifery, does. That being said, in the birth center environment, it is a controlled environment. In other words, we know exactly where our materials are. Whereas when you bring them into the home, you're going to place them in different areas. So, and then your different locations from the hospital and that sort of things. And then there's little regulation over you to ensure that safety standards are being met. So with birth centers, the interesting thing, there's a couple of different facts that I thought I'd throw out there. Between 2007 and 2013, the annual number of birth centers births grew by 56.3%, while the annual number of U.S. births decreased by 9.8% during the same period. So birth centers are going up. We've gone up almost 65% since 2004. And Texas has the most birth centers per capita by far. So if you go in the Dallas area, the Austin area, the Houston area, you're going to find a lot of birth centers. We are the 67th birth center in the state. However, prior to us, none in the whole Panhandle. Really none in the whole West Texas region. They're all enclaved sort of on the border and in the bigger cities. So if you wanted to go to a birth center, you had to go to Midland prior to this, or El Paso, or all the way to Fort Worth.
So you heard it first right here.
So one question that I think people would have pretty much right off the bat, do these birth centers accept insurance?
Good question. Some of them do and some of them don't. We do. That being said, it's the great question. It's the great debate among birth center owners. Is it better to be in network or is it better to be out of network? So currently I am out of network, and that way I can charge what I charge. If you're in network, you get what the insurance company says that you get. You have to bid back and forth, and I may think that I'm worth $6,000 for comprehensive maternity fee, labor, birth, postpartum, newborn, but they may tell me that I'm only worth $3,000. So
Well, here's the thing. With the birthing center, this is about the experience and the natural nature and facilitating the natural nature of birth. For instance, when I first started hearing about like water births and stuff like that, I'm like going, what? But the neat thing about the water birth thing is when they have this tub, and it's kind of neat, man. It's got like mood lighting, and they've got essential oils infusers and stuff like that to create this relaxing environment. But when a woman gets down in the water and she's delivering and she gets in whatever position she's comfortable, the buoyancy kind of keeps the pressure off of the birth canal and stuff. And so there are a lot of things that happen in conventional type of births. Well, this is really conventional. It's just not widely known because it's evolved through, this is the way we're going to do it.
A big difference between a birthing center and hospital that stands out in my mind is no drugs are used. Is that correct? Or do you guys use anything?
We don't. You are correct. Most birth centers do not have any drugs. That being said, we will offer
epidurals.
Yes, no epidurals for sure. And there's no OR connected, so no operating room connected. So if we talk about levels of care in midwifery, and most women, 85% of women are low risk and can birth at a birthing center just fine with themselves. We know that support goes a long way. So midwifery offers that support and constant companionship and helping the mom find those right positions to decrease her pain and allow her to relax. That being said, we do offer nitrous oxide at our facility, or we will be offering it. I'm in the process of getting the tank right now. But
okay.
Yeah, and so some women it's self-administered, and some women, especially during transition, find that
yeah,
is
but
helpful.
it's only appropriate at certain times.
That's right.
In birth, because
That's right.
You don't want that actually getting connected to the baby.
No, because it is labor. It's called labor for a reason.
It's women's work.
It's work.
It is
work. Yeah.
It is probably our finest hour. I think that we talk about labor as something to fear. It is women's finest hour. Where
It's
they come into their
fascinating.
own, and they can do this. And if you just empower them, they can do this.
All right, we're talking with Elizabeth Toombs. She is the proprietor of the Midwife Cottage here in Lubbock. It's the first of its kind in our area. I'm going to introduce to you Sarah Brinker. Her husband is the medical director at the Midwife Cottage, and she's had a hospital birth and a birth center birth. Sarah, welcome to the program. Tell us the difference between that.
Sure. Well, I got pregnant when my husband was part of an intensive obstetrics fellowship where he was learning to do C-sections. And I first had a birth in a hospital. I did not want to have a birth in a hospital, but my husband, being an obstetrician, was concerned about, safety issues. He wanted to make sure we were safe. And so I had a birth in a hospital. I have had a spinal fusion, and so I wasn't able to have an epidural. And so I was concerned in the hospital about just what the environment would be like and if I would be able to be comfortable. I had a wonderful experience in the hospital. I had a beautiful, healthy boy. But the second time around, Jared was able to see me go through this process in the hospital, which I had a very home-like birth in a hospital, no medication. It was kind of a special experience. And for the first time, Jared, who had seen all of these women have C-sections and doing one C-section after the other, saw me give birth to our son, unmedicated, unencumbered, coached by the nursing staff. And so he saw a normal physiologic birth with our son. And so when I became pregnant with my daughter, we decided to try something different and research the safety of a birth center and what options we had, and had our daughter in a birth center. Birth centers, just like Elizabeth was saying, is a different environment, more comfortable, and I had more freedom to move around, like Elizabeth was saying, and so it's just a different environment.
You know, I think that there's probably a much lower anxiety level when you're in.
I would think so. You know, you're not hooked up to an IV and that sort of thing. So you've got freedom to get up and walk around. And I don't know, when you're in the hospital, your stress level's up anyway, because you're in a hospital. But yeah, we have someone here, a guest, Leah Gregerson. Now, she's done all 3 different kinds of births: hospital, birthing center, and a home birth. So talk to us about your experiences.
Well, my oldest child was born in a hospital, and I did the full medicated, had an epidural, the whole 9 yards. But that experience for us as a family was not very pleasant. We did not enjoy the 48 to 50 hours that we spent in the hospital after the birth. For my husband especially, that was just really challenging for him. He's a little bit more of an introvert, and just being in that environment was stressful for him. And then as a mom of a newborn, it was very difficult to bond with my baby and just enjoy those moments after his birth. And so with our second, we went for the birth center option, and we were in the Austin area, delivered at the birth center, and we were home in 6 hours. And to me, that was golden. It was amazing to be in my own bed and recover in my own environment. Just absolutely loved that. And then with the third baby, I had care from Midwife Cottage, and ended up doing a home birth due to Midwife Cottage actually not being open at the time my son was born, but had that midwifery care, and just loved the attention and care that I got from those midwives. And it's just makes all the difference in the world.
Okay, ladies, thanks for sharing with us. We're almost out of time. But
I think you had one more thing you wanted to add.
Yeah,
real
quick. Yeah, about just comfort and some other the benefits, physical benefits.
Well, exactly.
Got about 30 seconds.
We know that with midwives, on average, there's about a 5 to 6% cesarean rate, and if you walk into an average American hospital today, our rate is 32.8%. So if you're just looking at cesarean sections alone, natural physiologic labor is the way to go with midwives. We know that.
We'll talk. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. We're out of time. We're going to talk to you guys again real soon.
Thank you.
Okay. The Midwife Cottage right here in Lubbock.